Lucky me will get wonder where is it.
Alright. So, first question of the day. What was that?
Lion.
Lion roar. And does that sound a bit different to what you usually hear in Hollywood films? Yeah? Well, believe it or not, Hollywood, surprise, surprise, has geared us towards thinking lions roar once or twice, and that's it. And that's all they need to do, right? But in actual fact, lions roar exactly like you just heard. Trust it? Trust me, I've heard them roar hundreds of times. Sometimes right in front of us here at Monarto. And that is really exciting when it happens because you actually feel it inside your body.
Wow,
So welcome.
that's really loud.
Can I ask, is this anyone's first trip to Monarto today?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Especially those from interstate, maybe overseas. Welcome. And those of you from Adelaide, good old Adelaide. Here at Monarto, we have the largest safari experience outside of Africa. That includes all the other continents. So we're really proud of what we have built alongside you here today. Oof, loud radio. Alright. So we have the largest lion pride in Australia. Anyone want to guess how many lions we have in our pride? Two? I mean, we have a group of 2, but we have 16 lions.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? 16. Now, albeit these lions not all part of one pride, that would be a little bit chaotic because we have, now adult females that have their father and uncles out there too. Naturally, those females or the males would be moved off in the wild, so they've been separated. We have mum and the cubs. We have 2 handsome young males as well. And the thing is, there's a different group out there every day, so it's a bit of a lucky draw. I like to say there's something awesome about each of these groups, and all of our lions are flipping amazing. I love them all. Now, even if you've met lions in the wild, I've got to say, this is going to be an interesting experience for you because every single day is different. The lions have about 11 hectares out there, which is larger than Adelaide Zoo.
Wow.
They can go anywhere inside that area. So, let's test your lion knowledge a little bit. Does anyone know what lions eat? Me! I thought you said meat for a second there. Oh yeah, they would. But more so meat. And not just meat, we're talking about blood and guts as well, the good stuff. We don't hold back here at Monarto. We give our lions the best sorts of meat. Once again, kind of like whatever lions we have now, the meat changes every single day as well. So you never know what meat you're going to be feeding the lions. Now we have some feeders. Those of you feeding, hands up. These are the brave people, everyone. Know why they're brave? Because they're going to be feeding the king of the jungle. Now, does that mean for the rest of us we're going to have a lousy time? Absolutely not. We're going to be in amongst the action as well. Right there, we have more than one lion, so it's going to be really exciting. But is anyone nervous? Not one person.
A little bit.
Okay, so I think this is another one of those cases where people have seen too much on TV or maybe at zoos that they've seen lions and the lions have been sleeping behind glass and they're not very intimidating, are they? But out there's no glass. There's no physical barrier apart from mesh like what you see here. A little bit thicker, of course, lion grade. But that means our lions are deadly, and they are deadly. They're the kings of the jungle. They're not tame. They're not tame one little bit. And so I think you'll see that today as well. We need to ensure your safety. And these animals, especially carnivores, can be very crafty at times. You need to always be on the ball. Now, I'd like you to meet one of the lion's best friends from Africa. Sound a bit like this. making this sound? Oh. Elephant? I can see how you think that. That's a good answer. Actually, I can't stop it. No, I can. There we go. Technology. So that was a hyena. Hyenas are one of the most misunderstood, misrepresented animals in Africa. And today I think you'll learn a lot about them. We have a hyena out in front of us, and also we have some dogs out in this area too. So see who you can find. We'll head around the corner here so you can see. We have some dogs in the grass, and I love coming around here in the morning because you really get to see their camouflage in action. There's a reason they're called African painted dogs.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's got a bone. So I've just been fed their morning meal. We have a male hyena and 2 females over to the left.
Whoa.
Now, do you see how our male hyena is by himself and our 2 females are at the gate? That's because females are in charge in the hyena world. Females are dominant, they get the first choice of food, they get to choose where they sleep, they get to choose everything. The males have to do what they're told or else they're punished. I've seen this. There's no joke, in the hyena world the males know their place. With the dogs on the other hand, it's a bit of a bit more diplomatic. Males and females equally ruled. You have an alpha male and an alpha female forming an alpha pair. And they'll lead the hunts, but essentially they live in one big family unit. So most of the dogs will be related. There'll be 1 and 2, mum and dad, who breed. That's it. The rest of the dogs look after the pack, and then as they grow up, they may move off into different packs. Kind of like what we do as humans. Right, so you will see them a little bit later on. Unfortunately, I'm not able to stop in this area due to the dog's nature of seeing a stationary vehicle and wanting to play with that vehicle and the people inside. And it's pretty funny, it's not dangerous, but they rip the mud flaps off the bus. You know, they form habits, and then habits are really hard to break. And so the keepers just say, no, keep moving. Because as soon as that happens, I've got paperwork, I've got paperwork. Yeah, no riding your bike in this area, alright? It's tempting, you know, make a great Sunday ride, but not today. Does this remind you a bit of a movie from the 90s? Has dinosaurs? Jurassic Park. Now, pretty cool. The original T-Rex sound, we all know it, don't we? From Jurassic Park, you know, the big one? Combination of animals, all the way from elephants to lions. So lions are part of that. They use the call from a baby elephant, I believe, which is really high pitched. That's where you get that high pitched sound. And then the low rumbling sound comes from a lion roar, which is really cool. Now what we're going to do is the keeper is going to come and give you a bit of a safety brief on lion safety. So please listen up. You can leave most of your stuff on the bus, and we will head in very shortly afterwards. But everybody welcome Tam, the lion keeper.
Here they go. Oh, thank you. Not needed. Excited to meet some lions?
Yes.
I think that's at least half of you. Well done. So we've got 2 of our young fellas out today. So they're already waiting at the dome. So hopefully they should come over well. But where we're going to go into is essentially a mesh dome. So at no point in time try to put your fingers through the mesh and touch the lines in any way. You're all made out of meat. That's their favourite to eat. Okay, so keep your hands to yourselves. When we go in, you'll notice there's a couple sets of railings to keep you behind for that safety. So make sure you stay behind that for that reason. And that includes not to lean over the rails to try to take closer pictures. Also keep that camera behind for us. The boys do also have the ability to jump up on top of the dome, so stand under him, check him out from beneath, but just remember that things can then fall down on you. On a similar note, again, they're males. We all know male lions can spray. They can actually shoot up to 3 meters. So, at least someone's having a great time today. So if you happen to see a tail go in the air and a backside turn in your direction, just calmly hide behind someone else and you'll be fine. And then just lastly, if your kid's on board, fantastic. You'll keep the lions around for us a bit longer because you look a bit more vulnerable than the rest. But just with kids, keep them ground level, adults proximity, just not on top of shoulders, not being simmered up to the roof where they can grab hold of it. All right? Well, let's jump off and we'll get started.
You do exactly what they tell you, don't you? You hear what they said?
Stop.
Alright, everybody, welcome to the Lion Dome. Please remember to stay behind those barriers. Now, the keepers did say our boys were pretty close. Oh, did they?
Wow, that's huge.
He just looked at us. Probably actually don't need it. Yes, it is. Alright. So, our two boys out here, they do have names. Their names are Chad and Ruka. So Chad means defender or protector. He speaks strong one. And then Ruka means to jump, pounce and bounce. That's the beefy one. They are brothers. And they're both 2 years old.
Wow.
So when it comes to males, they grow very, very quickly and then they will keep growing until about 5 years old when they reach their maximum size and maturity. So that includes the mane as well. So these boys in human terms might be considered 14, 15-ish. They're still going through puberty. Yeah, so that's in the keepers up there.
Wow,
so
that's huge too.
usually, does anyone know what keepers might usually mean for lions? Food. So initially at least it might be a little bit distracted, but believe me, it usually takes about 10 minutes on average for them to even come up. And most of the time, they're all the way over there. Now, does anyone have cats? Where are my cat people? 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4.
guess.
Okay, look, yeah, we've got a good representation this morning. Sometimes I've been out here and there hasn't been one cat person. We're all coaching. This is great. But those who cats probably realise they do what they want when they want, usually. That's my experience. So my cat does what it wants, when it wants. Sometimes it's not in the mood for cuddles, but at 1 o'clock in the morning it will, wake you up wanting to play.
Yes.
So it's just one of those things. As I said, these boys aren't tame. They would never be considered tame. Taylor, myself, any of the other staff were to go out there, these boys would have a really great time meeting us very quickly. That goes for everyone else in the public too. Hence why we have all these precautions, big gates, big fences. Fences are electrified. Not that the lions ever show an interest in getting out. Oh, absolutely. They can see Tam there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, they know exactly what time it is. So Taylor, do you know how heavy these boys are now? It's always changing. Cool. So if you didn't hear that, about 150 kilos for these boys. That's larger than their mum. Although their mum might be heavier now because she's got cubs again. But the typical lioness will weigh about 130, 140 kilos. So they're well on their way to becoming big boys.
Dad, Rika, quick, quick.
Yeah, that'll be here soon. Yeah, so these boys, they're the sons, so we can't use them for breeding, so at the moment they're not the pride, but they still need to run out. So we rotate
They're coming.
Okay, so the others are something.
Yeah, so when you go on the bus, you'll go in and you'll go past the lockaways and there's an exercise yard. They'll get rotated down there. But just today's these Santa Rica's day to be out.
See?
Dad, Rika, quick, quick. Come on. Dad, come on, mate.
One more dominant at the moment.
Jackson looking like he's being more dominant. He's got really dark hair, bigger mane. Rika already looks like he's starting to receive which
Which is great.
Dad.
Typically, the more dominant male will have a larger amount of hair, darker hair as well. Now these boys may pop up on the top of us, they could be around the bottom as well. So, just depends.
Climb at the top.
Rika.
Now it's important to note this isn't for them, this is a thank you for coming on up.
Good boys. Come on. Chad. Rika. I see you, Rika.
What's the name?
Come on, fellas.
Rika?
Rika.
Rika. Ooh.
Come on. Good boy, Chad.
So if you didn't hear before, these two boys are related to all the other females at Monarto, and so for the reason they can't be in together. Not at the moment. So our breeding female just gave birth.
Wow. Wow. Oh, it's still baby.
Now once again,
Wow.
try to
Still baby. Oh. Oh, you're very pretty. Oh. Hola, Rika.
Alright, so those who are wearing lanyards and are doing the feeding, I will get you wearing you.
Hello.
Great.
Aren't they awesome?
So once you come in here, you do need to be wearing gloves. Honey, when they lick, that's when they let go, but these boys are pretty good. We're just going to feed in between here and here. Now when you're standing there, don't stand too close because there's
there's a line there. Don't stand too far away because if you happen to fall and you put your hands out, we're also in a bit of trouble. If you do want to take a photo, you can feed the line, remove the stick, stand up straight and have a photo. The best photo spot is over there, so maybe get a family member to do that. Don't lean in, please tend to lean into photos. You'll be scout, so don't do that. Don't at no point in time try to touch the line. Pretty common sense there. You'll get 4 pieces of meat. Yeah, have to be wearing gloves. So if say you guys are family. Yeah, so say if you want to feed first, and then maybe someone from this group, you all in the same group? Yeah, then you feed, and then you put gloves on, and then you feed. So if we do happen to lose a line, it takes a while to get them back, so we'll just make sure someone's ready, gloves up, ready to go. Alright, so would 2 people like to go over, and we'll get started, so maybe one from your group, and
Most boys have, they might just started to spray, but you get a good warning, their tails will go up when they spray. And usually they need to aim at something. They prefer to aim at something. So when they're on top, there's nothing to aim at. When they're down the bottom, right? We're all tucking.
alright, come on in, come stand just where I'm standing. There you go, and get that in space, let's go. No, you go.
Now they don't mind the buses too much. In fact, these 2 young fellas would chase the bus when they were younger. Thankfully they've grown out of that now.
And safe spot, I reckon.
This is Chad on top.
Thank you, well done.
Yeah.
And we've got someone else clubbed up as well.
Oh, that's
Excellent,
right.
come on in.
Thick in between. So typically dark and hairy is indication of more testosterone in the lion world. That's what the ladies look for. They want their men a little bit more hairy.
Rika. Hello.
Dark
I do feed them a variety of meats today. This is my big horse here. Eat today. On the menu.
He's full now.
So they'll get all the way from beef,
He's full.
kangaroo, rabbit, chicken, turkey. That being two crocodile.
What's your name, Reka?
These 2 boys.
Oh.
I think they're good.
Oh.
I've never personally seen
Aw.
them keep us modern. Males usually tend to, when they're in a coalition together like this,
Thank you, well done, good job.
as long as they're brothers and they're related.
Alright,
What's
come
the
on in.
contention? Food? Girls.
Now he's full.
There are girls around, and once the Isra said she's ready to mate, they may fight for the rights to mate her. And then when there's a round of this excess food, they may choose to have a little bit of a scuffle over food as well. But typically they get on extremely well. So do our 3 other boys out back as well. So they're another coalition of
Be
males.
next.
Hardly ever see them fight, but we see them fight when a female's an Easter.
Well done.
Oh, go next.
One thing you need to know about lions is that lions fight. It's part of their nature.
There you go. Just at his face level.
It's just a tap over there.
Thanks, got for me. I'll be worried if it comes.
I feel like they're red wines in the state. What makes them raw? Well, I mean, they're
Wow.
the decoration. Say, I'm but they could be
I know.
more into each other.
So just okay. Just okay.
I might get you to put that one back there, just because it's a bit
Oh, the
distracting
lions
for
are
him.
again. Well, these boys used to drive up this diet when they were really small. Up to mum's head level.
Let me see.
Bye, Rika. Oh, there's still another one there at the top. Oh. He's It's cool.
Alrighty, so guys, while Taylor finishes up there with her meat, please do continue
Thank you,
to
Mother.
enjoy the two little boys while they're here. Just because, unfortunately, as soon as we tend to run out of that meat, we're not as interesting. We do tend to wander off. But yeah, it's both been good with them coming over today. These little boys, again, they are youngsters. They're actually going to turn 2 in 21 days. So just little boys. They still have a lot of growing to go, of course. They're only about 140 kilos now. Still got about 100 kilos to put on. And of course, fill out that mane a bit more too. They're just going through that awkward teenage stage at the moment with some facial hair coming through. But while we still have you, we just sort of take this opportunity to just have a bit of a chat about how lions are going back in Africa, of course, with those wild populations, and also the conservation efforts we're involved with too. So a lot of people don't realise that lions are actually struggling in the wild. They are doing it worse off than gorillas, doing it worse off than rhino. If you compare it to 100 years ago, there was around 200,000 lions, and almost across the entire African continent. But today there's 20,000 left, and still declining. And what's left are in very isolated little pockets of populations, makes it incredibly difficult for just simply genetic crossover. But yeah, still worsening, and lions are now predicted to be extinct in the wild by 2050. So that's less than 30 years away for that to happen. And again, so what to do with humans? Unfortunately, we are the bigger predator at the end of the day. And lions are still being trophy hunted for one. And one single trophy hunted lion can bring in the same amount of income as 24,000 tourists bring into Africa. So how do you sort of put a stop to that? They also get caught up in the illegal pet trade too, and this is basically where mums are shot, cubs are collected, and they get smuggled across the different borders of the different countries in Africa until they leave that continent, and they often get smuggled in nothing more than like a washing basket, and predominantly don't survive that journey, nor pass the age of 2 when they're at that final destination to be used as a pet. They also get caught up in the legal bone trade, and this is now because there's hardly any tigers left in the wild, and that's where those bone products used to come from. So now people have run the tiger numbers dry, they're moving on to lions to get those similar bone products, and it's simply because there are cultures out there believing if you were to use lion or tiger bones medicinally, you can cure things like cancer. It's a load of rubbish, same as using rhino horn, but for that reason their skeletons are selling for about $17,000 each for that trade too. And then of course, they have a bit of conflict with locals in Africa, predominantly farmers. Imagine farmers having livestock, that's their mean of an income, which is absolutely fair enough. But to lions, it's a pretty free-looking meal. It's almost like fast food. So they are, at the moment too, almost forced to hunt that livestock because of the loss of land they face. They have to come into these human settlement areas. So from there, farmers lose that income, and what they do is they go out, shoot and poison all the prides they can find to get rid of that competition. So they suffer a lot from that. But the major thing we are seeing at the moment is the bushmeat trade, and this is where locals will go out, set up snare traps, and in the hope of catching any sort of animal to obtain meat, sell it, make an income. So the snare wire trap is basically just a bit of wire that they find, they fashion it into a loop. They can bait it to attract a carnivore species to come across it. So if something like a lion were to pop their paw in that loop or pop their head in to grab that bit of meat, that wire is designed to quickly close, and there is no possible way for that lion to free themselves. So the more they struggle, the tighter it gets. We'll have a little play now. Probably done for the day now. There we go. Round 2. Take it out in the tree, Chad. So the wire traps, often we actually find the lions can cut all the way down to their bone. So it's a bad way for them to go. What's the worst though stage? But what we do here, at the end of the day, zoos are saying we are a charity. So when you come through the gate, when you come do these tours, that's how we're able to generate funds, and that's what we can then put back into conservation. So with lions, we support the Zambian Carnival program. Beautiful bunch of people, of course, based on the ground in Africa. And they exist to combat all these issues we've mentioned that lions are facing and much more. But with that main point of, that bushmeat trade and those snare-wide traps being laid out by poachers, what they're doing is they go out in the bush and de-snare, so get rid of as many as they can find. Those rangers do put their life on the line to do that because, they're walking in pride territory, let alone every other animal that's in Africa that wants to kill you too, and, poachers are out there with guns as well. The other major thing they're doing are feeding lions with tracking collars too. So it's not an easy task. You can't just slip a collar over a lion's neck. You have to knock them out completely to do that, and anaesthetic drugs are quite expensive, especially for a 250 kilo animal. So a bit costly there. But once the lions have tracking collars on, you're able to track them. From there, you can research. What pride they belong to, the territory of that pride, the births and deaths that happen in that pride. Also, if that individual is moving or maybe not moving. So, for an example, if a lion who had a tracking collar on were to head out towards that human community, the team would be alerted, they go out, divert the animal away before conflict begins. If, though, that lion happens to get caught up in one of those snare traps, they'll show up as being stationary for a little time, sends out distress signal, the team can then pinpoint their exact location by being that tracking collar, hence get to them quicker, treat injuries quicker, release them from those snare traps quicker. From this whole process now, they've now released 44 lions. That was the last stat they've put out, and those 44 were just thankfully collared and then released from those traps when they got caught up in them. And then since being released, those 44 lions have now produced 187 cubs of their own. So it's just crucial work at this point in time. So again, we'd like to thank you for all coming today, meeting our critters, and helping us to in turn give their wild counterparts a future out there. So thank you for that. We'll pass you over to Scott now. He's going to pop you on the bus and you're going to go for a drive in, see them all from a different perspective, and hopefully they'll continue playing and being feral. Thanks, guys.
Oh, there you go. Perfect for today.